Alright guys, live. Harry's standing over me, looming in his hand.
I'm setting up the table ready to play the game.
Yep, setting up his table. Right. Here with the Codex now. It's my limited edition Codex. So I'm really happy about it. I really love the cover art.
Phil gave birth to a beautiful baby Sporus this morning at 10:02 a.m. as Kyle very proudly handed that over to us.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I'm happy that I got the limited edition one because then it's different artwork than the previous one. I don't think I would have been happy with the one before that. But yeah, it's here. It's a nice little shiny bit there. Codex ready to play with. I've read on some of the fluff that's in it. Pretty interested a little bit right now, and then I've read some rules. I'm really excited for certain things in it, which we'll discuss. Before that, I also want to see like the cards as well, so we get to see some of them. I think I've got 9 command points,
okay.
So we'll be able to see quite a few cards, I think. So that should be interesting. I've also been redoing my Tyranid painting scheme to be more like Leviathan. My whole army is going to be redone. That's my Neurothub so far. So if we have time, I will be doing a Tactica on the Neurothub for like my first impressions of the Tactica.
If anyone's actually seen Phil's newer painting, like the zine stuff, mate, it is so well painted. No disrespect compared to what your earlier Tyranids are. That I think going back and repainting is a wise choice. Yeah. What you've done on the Neurothub is good.
Thank you, Harry. Nids, I know you've got like PTSD about it and Ditto Pin, but you know, you love them. So first thing I'm going to talk about is actually the artwork. There's some nice new artwork pieces to go along with each High Fleet. But one of the most interesting ones was they redid a piece of artwork for the first encounter with the Tyranids, but adding in some of the new Adeptus Mechanicus models, which weren't really around when they first did the Tyranid bit. So you've seen this image before, but they sort of talk about the death of Tyranid and how the Tyranids were first encountered, which is pretty cool. And then they've worked in Magus Varnak and some more AdMech stuff throughout that. So that's pretty cool. Kind of got like a redone and some of the fluff a bit here and there. But they start going, so with the Space Marines, you've got like Lieutenant heads and like Devastator heads, like different colored helmets and that. With the Tyranids, they sort of have the same, but there's sort of like little different patterns on top of the carapace there, which would be pretty cool. Hey, Jay Thomas, you doing all right? I take it a bunch of new players are repainting the army since the Codex dropped. See, I was Leviathan before, but I wanted to take my favorite army's painting scheme up to the next level. But I've seen a lot of people want to change their color schemes to fit with rules, and I was planning on doing that, but I don't want to do it anymore. I want to just stick with what I really loved in the first place, which was the Leviathan and Baal storyline, which does sort of get concluded. Not completely.
I hope it reveals before the Blood Angel Codex, which is out next month. Which
when yeah, okay, all right.
I'm excited for
when I mean it sort of gets concluded. There is remnants of Tyranids left, but like scurried into the dark, and it says it's going to take months to hunt. On which the other Blood Angel Primaris are hunting them down. So I guess you get to see that. Hi Jacob, how you doing, man? But yeah, Kraken, Behemoth, and Leviathan have sort of 4 pages, and then Kraken and Behemoth have 2 pages. So Behemoth has their first Tyrannic War page, which is the whole Macragge War, which was pretty huge, pretty big deal. And the second Tyrannic War is essentially the Kraken versus Iyanden, is essentially what it is. And then Leviathan, their big war was Octarius, and then they get even more, which is of Baal. So that's pretty cool. And then we get the third Tyrannic War, which ends with Baal, but actually goes into something pretty interesting. So the first thing is what's happened after Baal. Baal was the end. We kind of got like a paragraph in the rulebook saying, yeah, it is a nice shirt. Thank you, George. Thank you. But we kind of got where it was like a handbar, Kaban. You want to get in there, Lucy? Kabandha actually just slaughtered all the nades, and then Goldman came and slaughtered all the nades, and Blood Angels were saved. But they went into a bit more detail. Basically, the Warp Storm opened up and sucked all the Tyranids All right, Harry, calm down.
It's not me.
What was that?
Half the terrain of that.
Oh well. So what happened was the warp storms opened up, took all the ships and that was in orbit, and basically shot them all around the entirety of the 40k universe. And all was left was the ground troops, and then on Baal's moon, Bandha, Khorne came out and did all their little different damage and that to start up some of their wars around the place, but didn't actually purposely came out. It was sort of like an accident. And then as the warp storm and the atmosphere was burning on Baal, it all cleared up, and it was kind of like now you see hive ships burning, and then you see all these like Ultramarine and Guilliman ships come down and things like that. Is basically what it was, and they were saved. And Dante bent the knee, but Guilliman sort of almost lost his mind a little bit and sort of kept on like thinking of Sanguinius or what was left of the chapter. There was a nice little bit about Baal Prime where the Knights of Blood chapter is now actually gone. She's got a donut. And Gabriel Seth got to witness them they fully enveloped by the madness of the Black Rage. So it might be something interesting that might appear in the Blood Angel Codex.
Yeah.
Hearing about what actually happens when you're fully enveloped. Mesa models can't wait to paint mine up. Agree.
Yeah, Thomas, Phil, and Harry have started practicing Shadespire. Just to answer your question.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm waiting for either the Skaven or the Dwarfs to do. So, yeah, so Leviathan spewed out all over the place, and actually they kind of just got, like, jumped from the other side of the galaxy a little bit, and actually right at Necromunda's door, heading straight towards Holy Terror. So, and that actually is, the last bit here, it actually says that, Leviathan got popped out someplace and went and attacked orcs and ate loads and loads of orcs. Hey, Susan. Hi from Denmark. That's pretty cool. I love Denmark.
Are you ready?
No. I want to go. It's on
One of
to my
my
top.
closest friends is
To my
that.
top 3.
Unbelievable.
And they fought the Red Wolves successor chapter. And then last bit in it is called The Last Wall. As Leviathan pushes ever further towards Holy Terror, Primarch Guilliman dispatches dozens of newly founded Primaris chapters to the front lines of the Third Tyrannic War. So the Third Tyrannic War has had a lot of stuff here. Baal is part of the Third Tyrannic War, but it's going to continue by going actually to Terra's front doors. And we know there's a Gene Circle on Terra, so yeah. And that's basically it. It's interesting. We get some fluff on Juggermunda. It's pretty cool. Juggermunda doesn't like direct contact. They prefer... Juggermunda is actually the mythical serpent, and they actually talk about their tentacles surrounding planets, with like intertwining all these different serpent like snake and tentacle surrounding systems, and then just throwing stuff in and starving them until they're really weak and then attacking through like tunneled creatures. And they go in a little bit deeper there. Hydra's pretty cool. Hydra's like the classic Gene Stealer scheme from Space Hulk. They get a whole page there. Gorgon's got a whole page. There's always Kronos. It's really interesting to see Kronos because they look like Moloch. And Moloch may be on the map in here, but actually I haven't actually, like, over first glance, there's nothing on Highfleet Moloch in here, and not even colour schemes. So it's a bit interesting that they still put it in there, but not say anything. And then we've got 2 new ones I've never seen before, which is Highfleet Tiamat, which has a really interesting story, and Highfleet Ouroboros. Is that right, Harry? Ouroboros?
Ouroboros?
Yeah. It's got Boris at the end, so just
Ouroboros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like a blue and black, with like bone-like weapons, which has got a really interesting story. I can't remember which one's which is the So Tiamat is all about psychic, and Deathwatch actually got called because of missing shipments, and there was like a big monolith, and then there was psychic energy which actually killed their psychic straight away, which was pretty interesting. Thanks for streaming today. It must be a huge cult if it is calling the hive mind. Yeah, and Phil did the Emperor get bitten. He's a cult member. We don't know. I don't think he would have been bitten. I think it's a big deal if the Tyranid's got his DNA, because that would lead to something huge. And actually, one more thing about it. They actually describe a new tyrannic biomass organism.
Oh.
Monstrous biotitans spawned by the brutal furnace of the Octarian War and gluted upon potent green-skinned biomass. This is after they've been pulled from Baal and scattered. And diverted from the ongoing war with the orcs, these monsters are formidable siege organisms with colossal hooked forelimbs. They smash great rents into the red wolf fortifications, and then swarm of gene stealers flock behind them. So that's pretty interesting. I think it sounds like a giant gene stealer with like hooks all over it, which sounds pretty cool.
Have you seen the old gene stealer cult model, which is basically as big as a Wraith Lord, but it's blind, and a guy's riding it with all the chains?
Yeah. That was a conversion.
Right.
It was a pretty cool conversion. What army do you think is the biggest threat to Nids now that the Codex is out?
I still think Dark Elder.
In terms of fluff, they actually go on about in the very first pages, and a very nice artwork spread, which I'll pull it for you here. This nice artwork spread, and then there's like a nice little blurb down there where it actually says that Tyranids can't consume demons. They just don't satisfy them. It's like eating nothing but Brussels sprouts, I guess, if you didn't like Brussels sprouts. And it just isn't doing anything for them, so they can't really devour them. And then Chaos can't corrupt them, so it just seems to be they just fight over who gets the honor of like devouring them. But they do talk about where is it here? Oh yeah, so garbled distress calls from the Velas Prime speak of frenzied, shrieking swarms of Tyranids covered in bizarre fungoid growth and weirdly previous unrecorded bioweapons. That sounds like Nurgle Nids, if I never knew it. Hello, has Christmas come early fulfilled? It has come early fulfilled. The same army that's the biggest threat to everyone, the Necrons. I just got my Nid decks today, and I love it so much. So demons give you gas, the warp must stink. Yeah, Billy Bones. No, I think demons in terms of the fluff is the biggest threat. And then, mainly because the Leviathans being hit so hard, but we've got a lot of Behemoth and Kraken and Hydra and Kronos gathering around Macragge, where the tower, so it's like Gorgon sort of really close to the tower. Behemoth is in Kronos is really, like, Behemoth's right in there in Macragge, and then Kronos is sort of in the outskirts, and then Hydra's down like sort of here somewhere, and then Kraken is just this huge thing up here. So it looks like there's like all these different high fleets all going around Macragge. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of the big storylines for Tyranids is all into another battle of Macragge. But in terms of rules, I'm actually terrified of Tau.
With dice.
I'm also terrified. No, it's the AP. So you can have Plasma, which is -3, but then you have the
Fusion blasters, which are
no. You have the system, which makes them +1 or minus.
Oh yeah.
Which makes them -4.
Which means I've got no save.
Which means I've got no save, unless I've got like some sort of like Juggermandir cover sort of shenanigans. So then there's a lot of stuff like that. Like the Wide Tides are pretty scared. So I'm pretty scared of because you take away my save, and being monsters, that's not good.
So what you're saying, Phil, is pink White Tide.
Yeah, because it's a bigger bullet magnet by itself. It's a bullet magnet by itself. But I'm pretty scared of them. I have not played Guard yet, and I'm pretty scared of them because they have some long range AP with high strength as well, so they're pretty scary. But I think Guard's scary to everyone. And I think it's like, the common ones like Ultramarines are pretty tough.
Yeah, but that's only because of Bobby G.
Yeah.
And even with the rumours of him going up 25 points, that's not going to fix him.
Yeah, and then Dark Angels, and that's the Bikers, because it's just the mass plasma is really hurtful to me as well. I think there's something else. Yeah, it looks like there's Hydra is going to be Leviathan and Hydra is all intertwined. Basically, a huge bit of Leviathans has popped into Hydra. We know Hydra's a cannibal, so we know they're going to fight. But it's also right next to a Necron dynasty, which is right on the outskirts of the Ultramar system. And then Kraken, we know is over like Iandan area. Like Kraken's got something to do with the Eldar, but it's sort of just about to pass into the Sautek dynasty, which I think is that dude with the bodyguard.
No, not Anik, yeah.
Like, because there's Oberyn, which is the bodyguard, right? And then
Yeah.
Which I think that's the dynasty. And then the Mefrit dynasty near Baal, there's still some Tyranid tentacles there, so there's still Tyranids coming in there. But Oribus is now looking really heavily like it could come to Baal. And that's generally it for sort of positioning of everything in sort of fluff regions. Go Necrons. In the Fluff Tower used bioweapons to cripple a high fleet, then they attacked it. Okay, so what about the reverse of that? Who do you think are going to have a tough time against Nids? A tough time against Nids. I think
Psychers.
yeah, a huge lot of Psychers. And they sort of Shadow War. Since all my Psychers have Shadow War.
Grey Knights that haven't got that many high
and their smite is only one, where all of mine are at the full potential. So I think psychic armies might have a problem. I actually think other Marine and Kill Space Marine armies might have a problem because they don't have enough stuff to basically deal with it, depending on what they're fighting. I think Orcs might have a tough time.
At the minute they will.
I'm trying to think of what else would have a really tough time. I think Death Guard will. I think Death Guard will have a tough time, depending on what you take with the Death Guard.
Yeah.
I'm more thinking of my shooty army list. I think that'll be really tough for a Death Guard to face. But I think that depends on what you bring for Death Guard.
No, this is all very good, Phil, but I want to know about the rules.
Yeah, I'm answering people's questions, Harry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Phil.
That's right. I appreciate you guys. Armored-based guard armies. Now, I think against my list, I think armored-based guard armies actually will do pretty well. But say against a horde like Harry's army, they might struggle a bit more. Sponsor. All right. Well, there's a nice sort of new ball picture with this nice Blood Angel statue, which I've told Harry that he needs to make. They're doing it really hard to make a statue like that because it's just so unique in terms of its
kind of like a garden statue with a made of angel and
and then it basically goes on to talk about all the specific stuff. Oh my goodness! They've even got a little 4-year-old blurb here about Harridans.
Nice.
So they've got some fluff about some of the 4-year-old stuff. I wonder whether they've got the Manthro as well. I've got Marsept and Marsept ready. They've got Doom and Malantide there. Hold on a fine moment. I'm just going to check something. Because I saw this online. So yeah, they've got the Doom and Malantide there, which would be which is nice that they've went back and looked at some of the old characters. Yeah, Manthrop's have got a block there. Where are you, man? Old One Eye's got a whole page to himself. Swarmo's got a whole page. Bio Titans have a whole page, which would be pretty interesting. The Parasite and Mortrax, I really wanted that to return and it hasn't. But it's almost got sort of a full page for it, which I'm hoping is a hint. Because it never had a model before. People kind of use a Shrike model for it. To be fair, Death Guard are having a tough way to go against about everyone. I have a knack for picking the worst armies. I play Death Guard in 40k and Death in Sigmar. Excuse me.
What's this?
Oh, that's an order. That's an order coming in. Death, I think I had a tough time in Sigmar, but I was just starting to come back. Lucy's probably answered that a bit more. Yeah, you play Death much?
Yes, lots of that playing them tomorrow, and some of them's got. It depends what you take because there's different factions in Death, and most of them are good. Which one do you play, Top J? How you know what? I'm trying to think of the name of the one that got smashed at the tournament.
Malgans.
No.
Death Rattle.
What? Sam's
Nighthorn.
army in
Nighthorn. Soulblight.
No, he's got 8 Morghast.
Oh, Death Lords.
Yes.
Death Lords.
They struggle, but other than that, I found most Death armies are quite hard.
Yeah.
The were, especially with the first girl time.
He plays Death Rattle. So he plays a lot of skeletons.
I think this is from Luke.
There's a nice picture here of some of the new colour schemes. Hopefully Duncan is... I know Duncan's going to be doing a Kronos scheme to be put on the YouTube channel. But I'm hoping he does some of the other schemes as well. I do like the green Gorgon gargoyle there, Harry.
Oh my word.
Harry, the green gargoyle there. I do like it. And I do like the Genestone colours on the Homer going as well. I'm a bit unsure about Oribus's colour scheme, it being black arm and a very like turquoisey light blue skin. What is Harry?
What am I doing? Where's the camera? So this is an Imperial Guard Basilisk, right?
It's a renegade Imperial Guard Basilisk.
Because it was Jacob's. Now imagine that. Take the gun off. Rupture cannon. Genestealer Cult Basilisk. That's what I'm going to be doing for the next few
How many
weeks.
parts did you get? Blooming, eh?
The only thing ever to draw Phil away from there's another acid spray, there's a flesh borer high, there's a load of heavy venom cannons, which will be very nice. Yeah, Horsefax. Carnifex carapace. I need loads of Carnifex carapaces.
Flesh borer high stuff though.
That's going to be the Punisher.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Christmas has come early for someone.
I think this is actually from James, not Luke. James and Luke were going to send us both stuff.
Fresh aside right there. Oh, that's a bit of a Moloch piece.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. I'm going to take that. I might not.
Whoa, no.
It's a bit that high.
Anything I don't use, you can possibly use.
Well, you're not using these anymore, so it's all good.
Right.
I'm not going to use them anymore.
Go, get back.
So I'm going to be doing a battle report with this army. I just need to get a few more venom throats before I'll be able to run it, and then I'm going to repaint them. So that'll be the first battle report with a fully repainted army in Leviathan colours. It's pretty varied in this one, actually. They've actually got an illegal list, Harry.
Yours.
This picture here. So there's a 3-man Zoanthrope unit here, but one of them's a Neurothrope, and you can't actually run that anymore.
No.
So that's pretty interesting. But there's a Maliceptor there, which I've now got, and I actually think the Maliceptor is pretty good, which we'll talk about later. They've changed a lot of his rules. But moving on, we've got the Broodlord, which has stayed the same. The Hive Tyrant has gone up by a toughness to make it toughness 7. His synapse range has gone to 18. He can now deep strike. He has a 4 invul, which is pretty good. I mean, he's gotten 10 times better, in my opinion. Swarmlord's got a bit better. He's toughness 7 now instead of toughness 6. 4 invul, turns to a 3 up in combat. And he's got 18 in synapse as well. Everything else is really stayed the same. The HQs, except we now got the Neurothrope as a HQ, which I do believe is 70 points. Let me see here. Yep, 70 points. And then Claws of Teeth is 0, right? Claws and Teeth. Yep, 0, so 70 points. Is actually a really good, cheap unit. For 20 points more, you can get a Malanthrop, which I would argue is better. But there's a place for the Neurothrope's psychic capabilities. He knows 1 power, but can cast 2 powers. So he can cast a smite in 1 power. If he kills something with his smite, a friendly Zoanthrope unit within 6 inches heals 1 wound. So they changed that. Normally it was they healed D3 if the Zoanthrope was in the unit and they killed something with smite. Now it's only 1. But then he's got a bubble of reroll 1s and your psychic test for Zoanthropes, which is a 6-inch bubble. So he's pretty good. He's pretty good. Old One Eye went up by a insane amount of points. He's 200 points now. His Berserker Rampage used to be every time he got a successful hit, you get an extra attack. Now it's only that on 6s. And he does have regeneration, which is at the beginning of every turn he heals a wound. Otherwise, not bad. He works better with a load of Carnifexes. And it's really only in combat. So he's not right up there for me. Everything else, then we go to troops. Genestealer has changed a lot. We got access to Acid Maws, which I would argue is pretty powerful. They've got Flesh Hooks as well. So Flesh Hooks is a 6-inch Assault 2, Strength 4 P dash 1 damage pistol. Acid Maws, can I? Any more assault person? No, every 4 models only. So for every 4 models in the unit, 1 model may have a Flesh Hooks, and or 1 model may have an Acid Maw. So for every 4 models in the unit, you can have a Flesh Hook and an Acid Maw, or you can have 1 of each, or either. You can have both of either. And then I think the Acid Maw is better. It's the same as a Running Claw. And a Silent Talon. So Silent Talon's Strength 4, no AP 1 damage, but reroll 1s. Rending Claw's Strength 4, -1, 1 damage, but on a 6 it becomes -4. That's a 6 to wound. Acid Maw is just a straight strength 4 -3, Harry.
That's nice.
So you can only have 1 per 4 guys.
Right.
So in a 10-man unit, you'll have 2. And I think I'll always run 2. They can get extended carapaces, which gives them a 4 armor save, but they lose their running charge. I don't think that's worth it at all. As soon as they get a -1, they're going back to their invuls. So I'm not too bothered about that, and I'd rather keep running charge.
Negative AP out there that I feel that's pointless.
Yeah, and then they've got something called Infestation. So you place 4 Infestation nodes if you brought Gene Stealers, and they can actually appear from them. So I guess you can sort of have it kind of like a trap. But if you know, like, for example, you're going to get an Alpha Strike army, such as like a Blood Angel Deep Striking army, I would totally hide my Gene Stealers off the table, hope they don't get within 9 inches of these nodes, otherwise they go away, kind of like the old Servo Skull, and then just pop them out so they don't have to take any shooting. And in that case, I would have my units in like squads of 10, because I've got the extra attacks then. I don't have to worry about losing guys beforehand. Spotted a unit for Sigma that I think is now my favourite model, the Dread Saurian. Haven't even started Seraphon yet, and I'm wanting the biggest nasty there is. Yeah, Liam wants him.
Yeah.
I think he's getting him. Hey guys, happy Nid Day. That's right, it's Nid Day, it's Nidvember. It's Nidvember, Lucy.
Yay.
Oh, great. I don't even pay you for this.
What do you expect?
Everything else, I don't want you to talk. Don't talk anymore. That's right. Everything else stayed the same, essentially. Definitely, but changed just a small minor bit. So he used to be able to be more than 1 inch away from his character chosen, and more than 6 inches away from everyone else. 1 inch away from everyone else. He has to be within 6 inches of the character that he chooses. Now it's a straight up normal 9 inches away from everyone, which I guess is better because now it doesn't confirm a charge, but it is what it is. Zoanthropes changed a small bit, so their smite is 24 inches, and if they are 4 to 5 Zoanthropes, they inflict an additional D3 on their smite. If it is 6, it's an additional 3. So 6 dudes smite is D3 plus 3. 4 or 5 is 2D3, or D6 plus D3, whatever you want to do that. And that's the only thing that's changed. For the Zoanthropes, other than they can't have Neothropes now. The Maliceptors changed. I don't know whether this was the same for them, but their combat weapon is two massive. It's just a massive Silent Talons, which is strength 7 -3 D6 damage.
That's good.
And it's a 4 interval toughness 7 monster with 12 wounds. So that's pretty damn good. It's weapon skill 4 though, rerolling 1s. Which, you know, it's not meant to be a close combat monster, but I kind of feel like I want to drop it in because its Psychic Overload's quite close range as well, which when it's at 4 wounds can affect 6 units, and basically instead of doing a psychic test you just do this, so there's no psychic test roll, and in a 6-inch bubble you roll 2 up on as many units you can in the damage table. And on a 2 up, they suffer a mortal wound, but on a 6, they suffer 3 mortal wounds. And you can't stop it. It just happens. There's no psychic test, there's no anything like that, Harry. Venomthropes changed a little bit. Their damage on their lashes turned from 1 to D3. And then they didn't used to be able to affect monsters anymore with their -1. But if they are 3 or more models. If they're 3 or more models, okay. So 6 inch for everything that's not monsters gets -1 a hit, and he must subtract 1 from hit rolls made for range weapons that target high-fleet monsters if they're within 6 inches of any. They've really worded that really horrifically. So 3 or more, you can get the -1 on monsters, and the range goes from 6 inches to 9 inches if there's 6 models. So it's not 6 models for monsters that we were told, really hinted at. It's 6 models turn into 9 inches, 3 or more affects monsters. Now I might actually grab Venomthropes for that now. But yeah, is it only Psyker Nids that have invulnerable saves? Yeah. No, No, Gene Stealers have it, and they're not Psychers. Basically, Gene Stealers and Brutalize are 5 up. Zoanthropes and Europes are 3 up. Hive Tyrant, Swarm Lord, and Master are 4 up. Swarm Lord gets a 3 up in combat. I think that's all it involves. Here's something interesting. Someone asked us to do a tactic on Pyrovores. I will. Their flamer range is 10 inches, Harry.
Pod.
So you can put them a pod 9 inches away, and they can do their flamers straight out of the pod. And these are heavy flamers, Harry. Strength 5 -1.
Are they heavy?
Assault.
Ah. So you're not even suffering the penalty to...
Why would you? They're flamers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So that just means they've got 5-inch moves, so they can run and shoot, which is pretty good. Horsepecs got really, really cheap, so now I'm actually debating about using them. Gargoyles can now deep strike. That's really good. Raveners, Rhytera, Spore Mines, Mucolids. I'm surprised that Spore Mines and Mucolids did the same, actually. Exocrine got cheaper, boys. That's right. The broken unit in the game is gotten cheaper. And all the rules stayed the same, Harry.
Yep.
That's amazing. Tran effects. This has gotten a huge boost. Like a massive boost. The Rupture Cannon, yeah, it's right there. Rupture Cannon's completely changed.
Is it this for the faces?
Yeah, so the Rupture Cannon's there. Biovolt stayed the same.
Yeah.
Toxic Cream got a little bit better. Its damage went up a bit more, and its AP went up a bit more. I am going to be using Toxic Cream in our battle. Carnifexes got a lot more customizable. I didn't get my Screamer Kills done in time to bring them, but you will be able to see them. Question, can you put Gene Stealers in their growth pods, but then deep strike them with a Lictor? Well, I'll answer that right now. Let's check. I'm assuming you mean the Lictor is the stratagem right route. I'm going to run 3 Toxic Crimes in my next battle. They hit now on a 3. Oh, do they hit on a 3+? Oh, I will cry if they do. Oh, yeah, they do. That's really good. But we're in 6 attacks, hitting on 3s. Strength 7, AP -2, D3 damage, reroll all field wounds. And it always fights first.
That's good.
Okay, I might have pooped a little. Gene Stealers. So, Infestation Node. If your army includes any units of Gene Stealers, you can place up to 4 Infestation Nodes anywhere in your deployment zone when your army deploys. You can then set up any units of Gene Stealers lurking instead of setting them up on the battlefield. If an enemy model is within 9 inches, that's Gene Stealers called, not Gene Stealers.
Same word.
Gene Stealers don't have the Tyranid keyword though. Do they have the Gene
Then,
Stealers?
oh my goodness. It's not a keyword, it's Gene Stealers.
Right.
So, it's okay. You can then set them up in units of Gene Stealers lurking instead of setting them up on the battlefield. If an enemy model is ever within 9 inches of an infestation node, the node is destroyed. End of a move phase. I do think the stratagem isn't like licked on the field. You got something reserved. Place it. It's let's find it here. Grizzly Feast Patterns, Flyers, Hunter, Power of the Highman, Pheromone Trio. Yeah, because it's when you set it up as reinforcements. If you already set up a Lictor, you can put these wholly within 6 inches of them. So it's during deployment that you do that Lictor stratagem, not during the game. Which the infestation nodes appear during the movement phase. So if you leave them in the lurking, then you won't get... You wouldn't have already done them with the Lictor, if that makes sense. But Screaming Killers, I think, are actually pretty good. I don't think Thornbacks have a place. I just really don't think they've got a place. They do have the Ignored Cover, which is good. If I went up against Imperial Fists or Iron Warriors, I will definitely bring Thornbacks. And I definitely think I would bring them with Devourers of Greenleech Worms. Because I get more shots rather than the AP. I'm not too bothered about the AP. I think everything else generally stayed the same. Yeah, apart from the a lot of dudes lost 1 attack but these are the dudes with tails, and the tails give an additional attack that can only be used on the tail. So they basically cleared that up a bit more. And the Hive Crone's missiles are now Assault 4 instead of Assault 2. So that makes them even better.
Twin Devourers?
On a Hive Crone.
Oh, no, I just meant Twin Devourers in general.
Yeah, because they went up by...
Also, can you get that piece out of there?
How?
I don't know. Well, it's not going to... Yeah, thank you.
Alright, Aaron. You weirdo. I've went over previous streams about what the adaptations are title. I think Kronos is going to be really up there, which is reroll 1s to shoot if you stayed still. I think Behemoth's going to be up there with reroll field charge rolls, especially in Gene Stealer type armies. Jormungandr is definitely going to be up there because I think they're all really good. I just think only slightly better than some others. I don't think the Leviathan one's going to be that good because you only get it. The Leviathan 6 of criminal pain if you're within 6 inches of a synapse creature.
Which sucks.
I don't think it's good at all. There's so many stratagems to go over. There's actually I would say Heartland's quite useful to me, but you'll see more of that in the battle that we're going to be doing. So I think I'll leave that one to them. The Hive Mind Discipline. I love that you can now get a Carnifex to hit with the Stranglethorn Cannon now on a 2+ if you're shooting at a unit with 10 or more models. I totally agree. I think it's easier to do it where you give him, and I think it's there's a Relic Stranglethorn Cannon, which I think is pretty good. Where are you? Yeah, the Kronos Balethorn Cannon, which is basically you get +1 a hit with 10 or more models as well, so that's pretty powerful. And then you have enhanced sensors as well, so that's pretty good. The High Mind Discipline. So we had 3 before, which was Catalyst, which has stayed the same. The Horror, which has stayed the same. And then Onslaught, which has also stayed the same. But then we've got Dominion, which is a 36-inch psychic power that targets a friendly Tyranid units on a casting value of 5. Till the end of your next psychic phase, that unit ignores its instinctive behavior ability and automatically passes morale tests.
That's alright actually to say that it automatically passes morale.
Yeah.
So you can overextend with 1 unit of that. I think that's good.
Yeah. We got Paroxysm, which is 18 inches, warp charge value of 5. The other 3, by the way, was warp charge value of 6. But basically, there's a G excited phase that unit cannot fight in the fight phase until all other units are able to have done so.
So it makes it go last, which is great against if your opponent's got a combat thing, which means they can't interrupt either. Yeah. If
the target unit has an ability that allows it to fight first in the fight phase, it instead fights as if it didn't have this ability. So finesse models go to like normal, and things like that, or like that psychic power for the Marines that can make Goldman go first, put this on them and it basically cancels it out.
Yeah, which means that you still get to go first, so you swallow when you start covering.
If both players have units that cannot fight until all other units have done so, then alternate choosing which of those units to fight with, starting with the player whose turn is taking place. That's really put in place in case you're playing with a NID player.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've come across anything else that said you fight last.
No.
Unless it's coming. And
quite possibly. Can I be there to have my aggressive parts?
Yep, have your aggressive parts there, man. Psychic Screen, which I think is going to be used quite often.
Yeah.
18 inches, warp charge 5 again. It's just D3 mortal wounds, and if it's a Psyker, they randomly lose a Psyker power. Devastating against Granites and
it means you can smite twice, and then if you're hitting a Psyker,
they lose.
That would be great actually against demons.
And I think all of them had their place. I think all of them will be cast majority of the time. Then we go and buy artifacts. There's so many artifacts. I'm going to pick out certain ones that I think are good.
Should be another one of these here.
Sorry, there isn't.
There should be.
Should you not go right over there?
Nope, because I've just picked 2 up there.
No.
It's on the desk somewhere else again.
Oh, it's on the floor here.
Thank you.
So Behemoth has a pretty interesting Sives of Tyranid one, which replaces Siren Talons. It's a model with monster Siren Talons only. It's +1 strength, -3 AP and 3 damage. And you get your extra attack, you get and every time you make a 6+ hit roll for it, you get additional attacks. But it's taken away the reroll ones.
Yeah.
Which is...
Well, depending on what high fleet you're running, you might be getting rerolls anyway. So
of ones, no.
There's one that gives you reroll hits if you're outnumbered, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is on a model that's got monster Siren Talons.
Oh,
You're never going to be outnumber anyone. No.
Fair enough.
The Imago factor, so that one's pretty weird. I hope they include that in FAQ at least, to make it worth it. Because it's just +1 strength and then 6+ to get extra attacks, but you lose the reroll ones. So I don't think it's worth it. The Imago factor is pretty good. I'll put this on like a Broodlord or a Tyrant if I didn't have anything to switch his weapons out for in combat. Basically, you just roll a d3 at the beginning of the fight phase. If you rolled a 1, you get +1 strength. If you rolled a 2, you get +1 attack. If you roll 3, it's +1 toughness. All helpful.
Yeah.
All helpful. The Reaper Obliterax is back, Harry.
Nice.
Basically, it just replaces a Last Rip with Bone Sword or a Last Rip with Monstrous Bone Sword. And on a 6 to wound, it's double damage.
I like that.
Yeah. It's nice. Nice little thing. Kraken has a nice one. Doesn't cost anything. Your Warlord, say it is, I don't know, anyone, I don't care. Your opponent's supposed to attract 1 for more hit rolls for range weapons that target this model.
That's better on something that's not a character.
And
that's got more than 10 wounds.
you can put that on a mount up. And it gets -2 to hit.
But you can't hit him anyway.
Alright.
I just think I would spread it out a bit more and probably put on a Hive Tyrant, but that's me.
Alright, cool. Gorgon has one that's pretty cool, which I wish was for everyone. I can see this on Turbogons, which is if they suffer a wound at the beginning of the next phase, they get +1 toughness, better than toughness 9. I've already told
Mikey says, ooh, Blood Angel Repulsor. No, it's a Salamander Repulsor. I swear.
Yeah. We've got my specific one, the Leviathan one, which I don't think is good at all. It replaces a model with monstrous bone swords. I've got no reason to do that. If I was going to add bone swords, it would be with Lash Rip. But it is strength user -2, 3 damage, so it's worse than Talons. It's probably cheaper though. A model with arm with it can make an additional attack in the fight phase, and if it targets an infantry or biker model and it suffers damage from this weapon but is not slain, roll a d3 at the end of the fight phase. If the result is greater than the model's remaining number of wounds, Harry, it is removed from play.
Lucy's Tree Lords do that, and they're not nice.
I'm not thinking of... It's infantry or biker model. In my opinion, that would work on characters, right?
Yeah.
So think Khan.
Yeah.
Dragahadi Khan. Or, you know...
Khan the Betrayer.
Khan the Betrayer. Or, you know, Dante. Or, you know...
Can't do it with Dante.
Why not?
Because Dante is our Lord and Savior, you can't kill him.
I think that is like some sort of rule that I can't do them.
Yeah, my rule.
I don't give... Shut up! Right?
You fell for it as well.
Yeah, that was amazing. So, in that sense, it's like, if I've got a model, let's go on character.
You can stop it on an 8+.
I don't give a damn. Yeah, Harry, I'll do that. And I'll put my dice that actually has numbers on them, where the 6 looks like a 9 upside down.
No.
And, yeah, that's right. I don't think I'm going to be taking a character that's going into combat that could take that weapon that is going against characters.
Yeah.
It's very situational. I'd rather pick something else, which I'll get to. The Hydra has a nice one, which is basically one of their Slimer Maggot Death Spitters becomes 1 less damage. I think they always 1 damage. But become Assault 6.
Right.
So it takes over. So it's still the same amount of shots. It's not doubled. But it gets a reroll to fill the wounds. Which is pretty good. That's on a Hydra model. The build on Khan is pretty good, but I'm not too bothered by that. And this one I really like. I don't see it being used often by other people. I put Monsters Rending Claws on people, on my Hive Tyrants, because they're free.
On your babies.
Yeah. But this is even another free one, which is when this model slays an enemy model in the fight phase, you can reroll failed hit rolls in all subsequent fight phases for this model.
That's good.
Which is it's good until you realize that's only ones. But that means, hey, I've got a free -3 D3 damage weapon that if I kill a model with it, I can then reroll ones in the future.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. That's pretty good. Jade Thomas says, "Don't lie, Harry. You don't even own green paint. That's a Blood Angel repulsor."
Well, today it's a salamander because Blood Angels can't keep pace with the Tyranid Codex, so the Primaris army is being used as salamanders today.
Yeah. The Known Crown's pretty good. It's a 30-inch bubble of you don't get the -6 to your hit rolls on instinctive behavior.
Right.
That's good, I guess.
Yeah.
I still don't like how I have to shoot the closest unit, but I can control it. I've learned to control it with index, and I didn't like the minuses. So the non-crown's pretty good in that sense if I didn't have a lot of sign-ups. But I do, so I don't care. The one I'm using today, Harry, is on a Hive Tyrant.
Right.
It's called the Miasma Cannon.
Oh.
The Miasma Cannon's back, baby. It's 36 inches, assault D3, strength 9, -2, 3 damage, and always wounds on a 2+. If it's within 8 inches, it automatically hits.
Is that on vehicles as well, or is it infantry?
It's strength 9. It doesn't do it on vehicles, but strength 9.
Right.
So it's win on 3s against against every vehicle, really.
Yeah.
Even a 9.
Yeah.
So salamanders versus nids, yes, that's right. But the salamanders are red today. They're called
green blood drops on their shoulder pads.
There was that paint explosion.
Do you know what it is? Right, I really, really hate doing this.
He's going to repaint his Blood Angels salamanders now.
I'm going to repaint the entire Primaris army salamanders.
I don't know whether he's being real.
Look at
Lucy's face.
Lucy giving me a look of death there.
Considering I painted half of them.
No, they're not getting repainted. Don't worry.
Cool.
It's just at the minute, Blood Angels can't keep pace with Tyranids. I need the psychic powers, I need the relics, I need the warlord traits, and I need the stratagems. So it's to show you guys the Primaris army, as well as show off the new Tyranids at the same time.
Warlord traits, Harry?
Yes.
So...
Turbogon 1. Or even the High Tyrant 1. It's the High Tyrant now toughness 7.
What are you talking about?
You know which one I'm talking about, Phil.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The one that gives you +1 toughness.
That's a relic.
Oh.
And that's only for Gorgon units.
Ah.
Which you're running tomorrow, aren't you?
I don't know.
You're running Gorgon, the reroll ones to wound.
Yes, because I'm going to have lots and lots of silent hands, so we reroll the ones to hit.
Yeah, so there's some interesting bits here that I just don't... I don't like the Swarmlord's warlord trait, but I feel like he has to have one that isn't broken, at least. At least. I don't see how it can become any useful. It's just after everyone's deployed, redeploy your Swarmlord. But that can't go into a Tyrannicide, because once you deploy your Tyrannicide, you have to deploy whatever's going in it at the same time. So you could double bluff, I guess, and go, oh, my Swarmlord's going to Tyrannicide, and then just suddenly drop them on the table, I guess.
If you don't do it the other way around.
No, because when you deploy your Tyrannicide, you have to deploy it in the Tyrannicide.
Ah, right.
You can't redeploy the Tyrannicide, which is too understandable, mate. Can't wait to see your Primaris in action. Will give me some ideas and insight for building my own army.
Well, it's basically one of everything.
Here's one that I think is really good that I'm not using today because Harry's got no minus modifiers to hit, right? On anything.
I've got a couple of heavy weapons.
Oh, for me to hit you?
No.
No. But this one's got heightened sensors. Your warlord never suffers any penalties to their hit rolls, although they still hit on 6s in Overwatch. That's really good for a Daka Flyrant.
Yes.
I can't wait to see what happens there.
Because Twinning Devourer's assault.
Yeah.
Imagine how fast he can move and still shoot.
16 inches.
Plus
is his normal movement. Yeah. Synaptic Linchpin adds 6 inches to the range of the Warlord Synapse ability. This basically can turn a Hive Tyrant in a 24-inch Synapse bubble, which is of his normal Synapse, and then 30. I don't know, because it's 18-inch Synapse becomes 24-inch Synapse. I don't know would that affect the ability of being within 6 inches. You get a 6 of Philip Pin. I don't think it would it?
What's that?
And adding 6 inches to your Synapse.
If you're within, what's the rule for the
if you're within 6 inches of a...
no.
Yeah, okay.
That's a shame.
Well, whatever. There's Mind Eater, which actually is Death Reaper's Wallow trait, which is if you kill a character in the fight phase, a friendly high fleet unit within 3 inches can then move and advance. Advance if it wish. Which I think is good, I guess. But alright. Instinctive Killer, which is, I think, what I'm taking for my... I think I'm taking this one. No, I'm taking a different one. This one is at the beginning of the battle, but before the first turn begins, choose an enemy unit. You can reroll filled hit rolls for the warlord for attacks that target that unit or any unit who has the same data sheet. For example, if I choose Harry's intercessor squads, my warlord can reroll all filled to hit rolls against intercessor squads.
Yeah.
So basically, I can turn my Jack of Fire into a twin linked again, but with 24 shots this time, which I think is pretty cool. But I'm going to be taking this one, which is from the end of the first phase in which this warlord suffers any wounds. For the remainder of the battle, when inflicting damage upon the warlord, reduce the damage of the attack by 1 to a minimum of 1.
That's alright.
Kind of like your Stonehorn, Harry.
Yeah.
And then we got all these like specific ones. I do like the Leviathan specific one, which is what people were saying was our actual trait, which is once per battle round, I can reroll a single hit roll, wound roll, damage roll, advance roll, charge roll, or saving roll. The charge roll is actually allow me to reroll both dice because that's in the FAQ. Whereas if it says you can reroll a roll that has more than 1 dice, you can reroll both.
I didn't know that, so thank you.
But it's a roll, so if it says you can reroll one of your charge dice rolls, so Johnny says that you can reroll field charge rolls. It's both of them, not one.
Right.
That makes sense.
So it's like here we go.
Yeah. Here we go was 1.
No, 2 now.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, there you go then. One's I don't like the Kraken one, I don't know Behemoth one. Gorgon one's not that great either. Hydra one is literally what you call it? Tenacious Survivor. The Cronus one's actually pretty good, which is an 18-inch bubble of if an enemy psyker fails a psychic test, they suffer D3 mortal wounds.
That's alright.
There's a stratagem to make him only do it on 1 dice after you declare you're going to do the psycho power.
Yeah.
So there's a really strong way of getting that across. That's a warlord trait, and that's everything. There's point cost changes across the board. Not huge point cost changes.
A lot of stuff went down.
A lot of stuff went down. I think it's crazy. But interesting. Harry's finished getting out his Primera stuff. Is that the full army?
No, there's a captain there which I need to finish painting.
Captain right there. But that's my first impressions on the Tyranid Codex is they're strong. They're not what they were in 7th now, where I'm at the bottom of the heap. I'm actually quite far at the top of the heap.
Nothing screams ridiculously hard or tough. It's like the old apple. It feels... What?
I disagree.
Okay. What do you think screams really hard and tough?
A behemoth Gene Steel army.
Right.
Of advancing and charging, re-rolling all your charges for behemoth, and there's a stratagem which can allow you to move again. So you've got 2 units you'd be using the swarm on. I think that can be really powerful. But you could have the Lictor with the stratagems because it's at the beginning of before the game starts. So you do it many times as you want, where you can pull a Gene Stealer unit, an infantry unit alongside them.
Right.
So your Gene Stealers are already 9 inches away.
Okay.
And they're re-rolling their charges. So I think a Gene Stealer Behemoth list can do very, very well. I'm trying to think of what else. I think a Kronos Monstrous Creature list, which I can run, where it's 6 Exocrines and Trinifexes, and then Hive Guard and Biovores. I think I posted the list on the Tyranid page, where it's 6 Biovores, 2 Malanthropes, 2 squads of 3 Hive Guard with shot cannons, 4 Exocrines and 2 Trinifexes. That's pretty powerful, and a Kronos as well. 20, yeah. So I think it can be powerful, not as broken as like an Ultramarine list. with Gunman.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're going to be fun, Harry.
Yes.
I think there's going to be a lot of psychic as well, with a lot of smites.
And I've got one librarian.
You've got one librarian, Harry. But are you looking forward to never casting a psychopath? What are you talking about? I'll go Mad Dog.
She needs to take on the Ancient Age of Sigmar, Phil.
Yes.
She's grown enough to deal with you now.
10 spells per hero phase.
I don't even have that many.
And that in stock 10 as well.
I don't think I use that many. Do I?
6 and then Mystic Shield and Arcane Bolt.
And then my personal ones.
How many personal ones have you got?
Every psych has a personal one.
How many seconds have you got?
No idea. It's been that long.
She's the same.
I think I can cast
She gets
more.
an extra one for the battalion as well.
I can cast
It's
more.
11. If I
But
take a Tree Lord Ancient out, just take it up, added Alariel in, she gets 3.
Well, Alariel has one, Drycha has one.
Alariel's got 3. Can cast 3.
Yeah, but she's only got one of her own.
Individuals.
Branch Witch, Branch Wraith, Tree Lord Ancient. There's 5. One for the battalion makes 6. 6 Deep Root makes 12. And then Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield makes 14.
Well, count mine. So my normal 6.
Uh-huh.
My Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield.
8.
My Lord of Change's personal one.
9.
My Herald on Disc personal one.
10.
My Herald on Foot personal one.
11.
My Herald on Chariot personal
12.
one. Changelings. No,
13.
Changelings doesn't have a personal one.
Okay. 12.
Blue Scribes
13.
personal one. Golden Summoner's personal one.
14.
Don't think a Demon Prince has one.
No.
I'm trying to think of other psychers that I use.
So she's still got more than you.
I can take others, I can get more though, that's the thing.
Each of her characters can also cast 2 spells.
We're going to have a spell off, haven't we?
I don't want to spell off.
You fell out of love with Sigmar at the minute, haven't you?
I'd rather take more fire. Fire! 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 Fire!
I've just opened the Space Marine tactical objectives for the first time, so I'm trying to shuffle them up so that they're not.
I was going to knock them out of your hand there. I thought it was going to be rude.
I would not be your friend if you did that. What on earth are you doing, Phil?
Fire! Fire! Well, that's it, guys.
I do quite like how Ned's turned out as of the new Codex.
I will be doing sort of like post thoughts
Mhm.
of the Tyranid Codex after I've played it for a bit, and then doing some tacticals on certain things as well. My list is proper filth.
He has promised not to shoot me Redemptor or Repulse to turn 1 though.
My list is proper. Well, if I've run out of targets, I will. My list is not as filthy as it could be in my list.
No.
I do have 3 Flyrants though, and the Swarm Lord,
I figured you'd bring flies, so I brought some Icarus missile pods.
Exocrine, and they seem nice. How you find it, Leviathan? I don't know because I haven't played them yet. I'm going to play them now, Jacob. Thanks, guys, for watching. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. When you plan on getting this bat wrap up?
Well, it depends what we're doing tonight.
ASAP, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably a better choice.
It'll probably be up in a few hours.
What you think in a few hours we're gonna have the whole game done and edited and up?
Yeah.
I don't
By
think that's
10 o'clock tonight, I reckon.
10.
No, it'll take. You're talking 2.5 hours worth of footage, which means it'll take 2.5 hours to render, which means it'll take 2 hours to upload. There's going to be no story, there's going to be no clarting around with the editing, it's just going to be straight up, dice roll and battle report. This is what we're doing.
I'm Pickle Rick!